Hi, I'm Andrew from Always English. Now, one of the first things you might want to learn in English is how to introduce yourself. Now, of course, introducing yourself to people for the first time, it makes us feel a little bit nervous and sometimes quite shy. By the end of this video, hopefully you can write down a full introduction and start to feel more confident. Have you got your notepad and pen ready? It's a really good idea to write down your introduction and then you can start to memorize it. If you write it down, this will allow you to start to feel more prepared for the next time you meet someone for the first time. And quite often, the first time you meet someone and how you introduce yourself is what gives the other people their first impression of you. And personally, when I meet someone for the first time, I always hope that I make a good first impression, and I'm sure you hope the same. And of course, we often need to introduce ourselves in many different situations, and some of them include at a job interview or your first day at work, or you might need to introduce yourself in an English class, or you might be attending an event or a conference, or you might have moved to a new neighbourhood and you're just introducing yourself to your new neighbours. In your introduction, there is some key information which you should include, and we'll go through the different points you should include throughout this video. And by the end, you should feel confident in writing your own introduction. Once you have written your own introduction, it's a really good idea to post your introduction in the comments. And within this community, what I want everyone to do is I want you to help each other and I want you to support each other. And I know you might feel nervous posting an introduction in the comments, but I'll give you some feedback and I'm sure the other viewers will do the same. Right, let's get started. So the first thing you need to mention is a greeting. And with greetings, they can be formal or informal. Let's have a look at some formal greetings first. With formal greetings, we can say hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, it's nice to meet you, it's good to see you. And of course, it's a really good idea to be mindful of what time of day it is, because you don't want to say to your area manager, good morning, when it's afternoon. If you've met someone before, it's not a good idea to say, it's nice to meet you, but you would say, it's good to see you. With informal greetings, you're likely to use these when you're talking to somebody who you already know or somebody who you're friendly with. And you can say, hi, hiya, how's everything? How's life? Long time no see. What's up? The next thing you'll want to do is mention your name. And there's a few ways that you can do this. You can say, I am Andrew. I'm Andrew is the contracted form. My name is Andrew, or contracted, my name's Andrew. Next, you might want to talk about where you're from, and you could say, I'm from Newcastle, which is the city you're from. Or you might want to say, I'm from England and mention your country. Or you could also say your nationality. I'm British. It's possible that you were born and raised in one place, but you're currently living somewhere else. So you could say, I'm from England, I'm currently living in Thailand. Or you could say, I grew up in Newcastle, I now live in London. Also, you might want to mention how long you've been living in the current destination. And you can use present perfect continuous, and you can say, I've been living in Thailand for 6 years. Okay, so those are the basics, and they're the most common, and you're most likely going to use all of that in most introductions. But depending on the situation that you're in, you might want to include some extra information. So the first thing you might want to include is information about your job. So if you're at an interview or somebody asks, what do you do for a living? You might want to give them more information about your job. And you could say, I'm a nurse. I work at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. I've been working there for 3 years. Or you might simply want to just refer to the sector that you work in. And you could say, I work in finance. I work in HR. If you're in an interview, you then might want to move on and share some information about your qualifications. So you might say, I have a BA Honours degree in creative arts, or I majored in psychology. It's also very common to talk about your family. Talking about family is usually used more often in an informal situation when you have recently met new friends, new colleagues, or new neighbours, and it's a good way to get to know each other. But you might not want to share too much information about your family in the first conversation because you don't want to bore the person that you're talking to. You might want to start by mentioning your marital status. If you're married, you could say, I've been married since 2018, or I got married last year. If you're not married, you might want to talk about the length of time you and your partner have been together. And you could say, we've been together for 3 years. Once you've spoken about your relationship status, you might want to talk about the size of your family. And when you talk about the size of your family, my suggestion is to just talk about the people in your immediate family. And immediate family means your mum, dad, your brothers and sisters, and you. Or if you're already a parent, you would talk about you, if you have a partner, your partner, and your children. So for example, you could say, I'm from a family of 7, and that would include mum, dad, me, my 3 brothers, and my sister. Of course, if you want to speak about your extended family, you could, but then it starts to get quite long and complicated when you start talking about grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. So just keep it short at the beginning when you talk about your family. If you have no siblings, and siblings means brothers or sisters, you can say, I'm an only child. And if you're a parent, you might want to say, I've got 2 children. I've got 1 boy and 1 girl. My son is 12 years old and my daughter is 7 years old. You also might want to talk about your hobbies or what you like to do in your free time. And you could say, I love swimming. I really like going to the restaurant. I enjoy traveling. And finally, the last topic is age. And this is optional because I know that many people don't like talking about their age, or they just don't think it's necessary. So it's your choice. If you do decide that you want to talk about your age, you could say, I'm 45 years old. Or an alternative is, I'm in my early, mid, or late 40s. If you're younger, you could say, I'm a teenager, I'm in my 20s, I'm in my 30s, I'm almost 50. Right, I've shared a lot of information with you which should help you introduce yourself in many different situations. I could go on and give you more phrases, but I think this should be enough information for you to get started. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to introduce myself to give you an example of what I would say. Hello everyone, my name's Andrew, I'm 45 years old and I'm from England. I'm currently living in Thailand and I'm an English teacher. In my free time, I love going to the beach and swimming in the sea. I also love going to the restaurant. When I have the opportunity, I love travelling. Okay, and now it's your turn. Go back and learn the vocabulary or the phrases if you need to. And when you're ready, I want you to introduce yourself to us all. Write your introduction in the comments. Don't be shy because we're all friends here and this is a really good opportunity for us all to get to know each other. I'm really looking forward to reading your introduction and finding out a little bit about you. But that's all for today. Have a fantastic day and I'll see you soon. Hello everyone. Again.